We deserve great young adult stories on streaming, while Mismatched gave us a glossy, harmless, thermified look at young love, and TVF continues to crack the coming-of-age journey with various syllabus dramas. We still haven't seen the definitive high school teen drama. Enter Netflix's latest Indian original series, Class, the official adaptation of Netflix's own Spanish show, Elite. Class boasts of some solid filmmaking talent. For one, it's helmed by Ashim Ahluwalia, known for Miss Lovely and the underrated gangster biopic, Daddy. The screenplay comes from Kersi Khambatta, writer of Being Cyrus and Finding Fanny, and Aamis director Bhaskar Hazarika. The story is equally exciting. After their school burns down, 3 underprivileged students are given the opportunity to attend Delhi's finest, fanciest private school, home to the city's rich elite. Suddenly, the mild-mannered, kind-hearted Dheeraj, studious class topper Sabha, and lovably animated aspiring model Bali find themselves surrounded by rich snobs and trust funds with faces. Class examines how their very presence studying alongside the wealthy disrupts the social hierarchies and power dynamics. How social mobility and equality is seen as a personal attack on the upper class. Similarly, it's about how the less well-off Dheeraj, Sabha and Bali are commodified, corrupted, used and abused by the rich. How they're used for PR, attention, affection, sex, personal gain, and forever seen as lesser. These are bloody promising ideas within a great concept, to use the guilty pleasure delights of a catty teen drama to comment on class and privilege. But despite its sincere intent, these remain ideas alone that barely come through an exhausting, unforgiving 8-episode series that left me defeated. Too often simplistic and on the nose, Class doesn't have the sharp writing or nuance to be a mature social drama. Nor is it seductive enough to be an enjoyably angsty, backstabby high school drama. It feels neither here nor there and somewhere caught between the two. What you're left with is a frequently dull 8-episode slog that only sparks the life in moments. There's also something distinctly self-congratulatory and smug about the show that's off-putting. As if it's so proud of itself that it rarely gives you the chance to be. The series begins, as most shows seem to these days, with a murder as a ploy to get us immediately invested. It's the same Big Little Lies device we've seen time and again, and at this point it screams of insecurity. It's a series telling us that its characters, commentary and narrative alone aren't enough to stand by themselves, so it needs to throw in a murder mystery angle to suck us in and keep us coming back. As we find out in the first episode, a student has been murdered, and through each episode we see her classmates being interrogated by the police, using their stories to flash back and recount what went down from the day the 3 new students joined the school and everything went to shit. Early on, I even struggled to buy into the central plot device of a Delhi police officer listening to hours of teenage gossip to figure out who had motive and who the killer is. Eventually, I started seeing these scenes as a comedy about a frustrated cop at his breaking point who wants to scream, "Bro, I don't care who cheated on you and who dumped who, just tell me who murdered the girl." I think the issue here lies in how little I cared about these characters despite the impressive actors playing them. Early on, we're introduced to a crop of truly insufferable rich kids who are just annoying to watch, and after a point, I don't even know if that was intentional. Gradually, as the show progresses, it attempts to humanize them, but it's barely successful. The fact is, in this, the golden age of punching up and satirizing the rich in shows and movies like Succession, White Lotus, The Menu, Knives Out, we've seen rich people be sad, suffocated, hilarious, deranged, delusional, but we've never seen them be this dull. I couldn't help but think of last year's excellent Netflix movie Do Revenge, which, despite being more of a twisty young adult comedy, was a far cleverer, more entertaining and surprisingly meaningful examination of privilege and projection. Class is admittedly a very well-packaged show. There's a sense of visual style, 3-dimensional characters, an honest attempt to adapt rather than ape the original show, and it also explores young adult desire and sexuality like few Indian shows before it. There are standalone arcs, moments and observations that work well here, like a touching same-sex romance arc, for example. But when they're buried in a bludgeoning narrative which you barely feel for, they're hard to hold on to. Similarly, when you're struggling to stay with the show, you can't help but notice its weirder, finer details. For one, it seems like these students at the prestigious, fancy-ass Hampton school seem to have all of one teacher. And what are they taught here? In the second episode, this teacher gives them an assignment to create a social media account for each other so that they get to know each other better, which is a lazy plot device to have the characters explain themselves to us. In the next class, the same teacher says, today we're going to discuss class, caste and privilege. What subject is this? What is on this weird ass syllabus? Why can't they just learn about the mitochondria of a cell and pointless algebra like the rest of us? Class equally suffers from death by plot. There's so much going on here that you wish it would just take a breath. There's breakups, hookups, backstabbing, and the romantic tension of it all. There's also the overarching murder mystery, which forces every character to have a motive to keep us guessing who the killer is. There's also a cover-up thriller about a mysterious fire and a secret underground prostitution racket. I counted, and between the screenplay, dialogue, and adaptation credits, there are 8 writers on this show, and you bloody well feel it. I needed to lie down while lying down. Thankfully, the series is somewhat kept afloat by its sparkling cast, who managed to shine through its blistering blandness. The casting from Panchami Ghavri, Sanjeev Maurya and Prashant Singh ensures that each and every Hampton student is played by an impressive actor. Piyush Khati brings a gentle, endearing presence to Dheeraj. Madhyama Sehgal as Sabha, Sivayal Singh as Bali and Naina Bhan as Koal equally shine. But no character demands you feel for them quite like a heartbreaking Chayan Chopra as Dhruv, who's also awarded the more sensitive and least shrill writing as a young man navigating his sexuality. Still, the fact remains that the Spanish original Elite, on which Class is adapted from, went on for 6 seasons. With this show, 6 seasons doesn't sound like an exciting prospect as much as it does a threat. One of my favorite moments from Class is early on in one of the police interrogation scenes. The interrogating officer is so dejected and bored out of his mind while listening to an unending onslaught of whiny entitled rich people that he starts doodling and drawing pictures in the corner of his diary. Never through these 8 episodes had I felt so seen. I literally felt like screaming, bro, I feel you. You and me both. You can watch Class on Netflix India.